Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it
All right, so I thought it would be a lot of fun to go to Aldi today. One, because I love their prices, and two, it's just honestly a little bit nostalgic for me at this point because back in like 2017, 2018, I used to go to Aldi every single day when we lived in South Dakota, but I shared Aldi hauls every single week on my channel, and that was kind of like what a big part of my channel was. So every time I go back, it just makes me really happy. Now, I'm actually not going to be doing like a full-on haul, but I am going to be showing you guys everything that I'm picking up, and you'll kind of be able to see the price and all that stuff. And then later on in the video, I am going to be food prepping everything, prepping out some produce and sharing some recipes. So you'll get a little bit of everything in this video. Now, I do not go to Aldi every single week. Actually, honestly, I do a lot of my grocery shopping just through Walmart delivery just because it saves me so much time and I don't always have the time to actually make it to the grocery store. But when I do, I love going to Winco because they are really affordable. And I also love coming to Aldi because, again, like their prices, you just cannot beat them. But I actually came here maybe like 6 months ago, and I feel like although we are still dealing with inflation, like several months ago, it was even worse. And I remember coming in and feeling like, man, the prices are just so insane. Like they're not even that much better than a regular grocery store anymore. But I was really happy to see this time that the prices did seem to be a lot lower. They are so much cheaper than a lot of other grocery stores. So absolutely a win. So I have been mostly gluten-free, dairy-free for a long time, but usually I'm not 100% strict on that. However, right now I am trying something new. I'm trying out the keto diet. Now, Kyle and I actually did this, I believe it was before I even realized that I had Hashimoto's several years ago, but we did more of like the dirty keto, I guess you would call it, where it was just honestly not a lot of healthy food. Like you were kind of just eating a lot of dairy, a lot of high fat meat and things like that, and it wasn't good quality or anything. And so while I was on that diet, I just never really felt good about what we were putting in our bodies. So this time I am doing more of a clean keto, but I'm also making it just attainable and just kind of protecting it and making it not so intense, I guess. So anyway, as I'm shopping through the store, you will see a lot of things that kind of fit into that low carb keto lifestyle, as well as things that the rest of the family can eat because they are just kind of not eating any specific way. And then another thing that I was looking at was their meat. They had such great prices on meat. So I picked up a lot of different things that I actually wasn't really planning on. I kind of had my whole meal plan figured out, and then I saw these deals and I was like, all right, we are adjusting and we're shifting, different things out for different meals. And that's definitely one of my ways that I like to save money, especially when it comes to grocery shopping, is I might have one plan, but if I go to the store and I find a really good deal on something and I can easily shift it, I will absolutely do that. And another thing that I've been doing a lot lately is actually shopping like the coupon sales at different grocery stores, like your mainstream grocery stores. However, they typically have a lot of really good sales that are kind of intended to just get you into the store. But if you go there purely for those sales, you will be amazed at the deals that you can find. Like sometimes I'll get a pack of raspberries for $1 or the kids' cereal for $1.99 or something, and that even will beat out Walmart's prices or Aldi's prices. So if you're able to kind of shop around like that, it will save you so much money. But if not, definitely check out Aldi if you haven't already been to Aldi and you don't already know about them. They are just amazing. What they do is they actually make a lot of their own products. And so that's just one of the ways that they're able to cut costs for you. But one thing that I will say is I feel like sometimes you can be a little picky on like getting a name brand item or just getting a store brand item. But every single time that we've tried something from Aldi, it's always as good, if not better than the name brand. And I actually remember seeing like a video clip or reading an article or something where basically that was their goal. Like they wanted to make sure that any of their products, like any of their store brand items, were as good or better than their competitor in not only taste, but also ingredients. So a lot of their products I feel are really, really high quality. Another thing that I'm going to say about Aldi, if you haven't been here, is I remember being so grateful for Aldi when my kids were little because the store really isn't that big. Now, the reason for that is when you go to Walmart, you're gonna have like 50 ketchups in the one aisle, and you can pick what brand and what style and what size and all this stuff. At Aldi, you will have one, maybe two options. And so for that reason, the store itself is a lot smaller. So I could get through the store even with 3 of my kids with me in like 30 minutes or less. But with that being said, they don't always have everything. So I felt like once a month I would have to go to a regular grocery store to kind of fill up on those extra kind of more specific things that Aldi didn't have. So anyway, now that we've kind of made it through the grocery part of the store, I'm actually heading over to the fun aisle, which is where they have all of the home decor items. They actually had a lot of toys. They have some organization things. They kind of just have a lot of random things. And I think they still switch out every single week, but they really do have a lot of great deals. And a lot of times you can find items that are going viral or just really trendy or popular, and you can get them for a fraction of the cost. And every time I've gotten one, again, like the quality is just absolutely there. And once we're done shopping, I'll show you a little sneak peek into actually what's available at this time when you're watching the video, and they actually have quite a few things that I have my eye on. Now, another way that Aldi saves money is you have to pay a quarter, like you probably saw in the beginning, and that is to kind of encourage people to bring their carts back to the store so they don't have to pay someone to go corral them in the parking lot. But then whenever you return your cart, you get your quarter back. So it really doesn't cost you anything other than a walk back up to the front. And then the other thing is you actually just bag your own groceries, which again, like saves them a lot of money. They don't have to pay for a bagger and everything. And it's really not much of an inconvenience at all, especially when you consider the price savings. To me, it's absolutely worth it. And I'll say, do not forget your bags. I've done that so many times, but if you do forget your bags, they won't supply you with them. So you actually have to buy new bags. Now they do have paper bags, which are pretty inexpensive. I think like 10 cents or something like that. Or you can buy reusable ones like I have. And then this right here is that preview of what they have going on actually this week when you're watching the video. But I noticed they have some really, really pretty mugs along with some hobnail glasses, which are such a great deal. I think it's like a 4 set for $10. They come in that looks like a green or a clear color. And I'm guessing they're gonna be amazing quality like everything else. All right, we are back from Aldi and I'm actually pretty happy with the amount of food that we got for the price. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly tidy the kitchen up. It actually isn't terrible because I've been doing pretty well with my nighttime routine, but the morning kind of got away from us. I also wanna really quickly clean out the fridge, and then I'll get all the groceries put away and we can kind of start prepping out some of the produce. And then I also wanna make a couple of things for food prep. So I want to get a few things done, and the day has gotten away from me. I don't know where the time is gone, but it's like almost 3 o'clock and the kids get home at like 3:30. And hopefully I can get everything done today. If not, we'll just do it another day.
Cause you waited on, you waited on. Out of luck and now you prayed for miracle. Cause you waited on, you waited on.
So a few weeks ago, I shared my nighttime cleaning routine, and that has been my one routine that has been somewhat consistent over the last several years, but I recently changed it in the new year, just kind of adjusted it a little bit, and it has made such a huge difference in our day. We are also slowly getting back into like our family nighttime pickups, which that has been a game changer. It's definitely one of those things that's just very hit or miss depending on how busy the nights are, because we have a lot of sports practices and things like that. But I always say, like, your nighttime routine or your nighttime cleaning routine, closing down the house, whatever you want to call it, that is something that will take you such a small amount of time, but give you so much more time in your day. And not only will it give you time back in your day, but it'll also make your day so much more productive. And I feel like I can just get a whole bunch more done. So it's absolutely worth that extra 20 minutes or so to, kind of shut down the house, do those few things that you need to wake up the next day and not feel like you're behind. Now, clearly you're gonna have to clean during the day like I'm doing here, but I guarantee if we had not done our family tidy at night, and if I had not done my nighttime cleaning routine, this would be a whole different situation right here. Like, I would be doing so much more than just unloading the dishwasher and, picking up a few things and wiping down the counters.
Right outside your doorstep, nothing's quite as it seems. You were standing in the street alone.
All right, you guys will have to let me know. Have you tried making the homemade Dawn Power Wash Spray? I have been using this stuff since, gosh, I don't know if it was like 2019 or 2020. It was basically almost as soon as it came out, and I have loved it ever since. It's been one of the biggest game changers in our kitchen, definitely one of the biggest game changers in washing dishes ever since it came out. And I just have not been able to break myself of it because it just works so, so well. But it can get expensive, especially I feel like you can go through it fairly quickly. And so I really am, maybe even this week, going to try to make it myself. I found a few different recipes online, but some of them I've seen people say that it doesn't quite work as well as Dawn dish spray. And so I'm just kind of curious to hear how many of you have actually tried the homemade stuff and if you feel like it works just as well as the store-bought Dawn dish spray.
On the feeling, can't seem to focus.
All right, you guys, these are the new Bloom towels. I'll actually pull them out in just a minute and you'll get to see them a little bit better than right here, but I'm so excited because these are the Easter ones and also the St. Patrick's Day ones. Now the Easter ones are launching today. Today is the first day you can get them, but they sent me their St. Patrick Day ones a little bit early, and I'm so excited. Those ones are actually launching next week, but my code will work for all of these towels along with all of the other towels that they have on their website. But I have been using Bloom towels since close to when they started their company, and I have just been the biggest fan. I love the style of them. I love the size of them. I love that they come double-sided. They're like a really soft, tight waffle knit, so they don't have that microfiber stickiness to them, but they are incredibly absorbent. Of course, they're double-sided, and then they also even have a hook that you can like hang on a little hook in your kitchen. You can fold them over, just kind of store them however you want, but they are my favorite kitchen towel and basically the only ones I ever use now.
I've been wandering in the dark with a cynical, faithless heart. I've been watching the kings and queens caught up in careless dreams. Oh, and you turned up. Somebody turned my love. I'll give love to the world. I stay true to my word. We'd be queens and kings of everything. I could gaze at the stars, take my rocket to Mars. We'd be queens and kings of everything. I bet my heart on you. Queens and kings of everything. You, on you. Queens and kings of everything. You, I'm the queen and you've got the crown. You've been turning me inside out. You keep me sane, I'm not breaking down when I'm with you. Oh, you turned up. Somebody turned my love. I'll give
So like I said, these are all the towels from Bloom Towels Easter lunch along with their St. Patrick's Day lunch, and I love how colorful and fun they are. And something that I have been saying for years and years and years is even if you don't decorate for the seasons or the holidays, if you can just switch out your kitchen towels, that will add such a fun pop of color. It'll just add a little festiveness to your home. And I love that it's actually not fully like a decor piece that's, you know, strictly there to look at, but it's actually a functioning piece of your home. So if you're like me and you don't really do a whole big decorating for Easter, this is definitely going to be a great option. You can just add a little touch of Easter or St. Patrick's Day or whatever in your kitchen and use them year after year. And I will say these ones are a little bit more on like the bright, more whimsical and playful side. But if you want ones that are a little bit more on the neutral side, I believe they still have their last year's Easter towels on their website. So definitely check that out as well. And I can't remember if I shared my code, but my code is just Amanda, and that will save you 15% off your entire order.
Love it how you love me electric, like you do. Love it how you love me electric, always you. Love it how you love me electric, electric. I love it how you love me a lot, love me a lot, love me electric. Baby, keep the light on for me, I'm coming home. Know I got you forever wherever I go. I feel like I'm high. Oh, and I wouldn't change the way you got me jumping through hoops. All the wishes in the world.
So once I got the kitchen all clean, it was time to go ahead and just clear out my fridge. And I tried to talk myself out of it so many times because I don't know what it is, but I just despise clearing out my fridge and cleaning it. It absolutely has to get done, and so I usually will make myself do it, but it's not one of those things that just comes really naturally to me. Like I kind of have to push myself into it. But one thing that I've learned, which I know can be so obvious to some people, but to me, I always felt like I have to go all intense. Like every single item needs to come out of the fridge, but I really don't feel like that's the case. A few times a year, it absolutely is important to just pull everything out, make sure you scrub everything down, get everything fully clean. But on just like a regular weekly grocery shop, you do not have to pull everything out. You can just pull things out of a few shelves where it might look dirty, wipe everything down, and then put everything back. And it actually will make a huge difference in not only how your fridge looks, but actually how it feels. And it'll kind of inspire you, I feel, to cook a little bit better and just make sure that you're utilizing the items in your fridge a little bit more. So that's all I'm doing here is just clearing it out a little bit, making sure there's nothing that's expired that needs to get thrown out, and also just reorganizing a little as I begin to start loading in the groceries that we got from Aldi today.
Spend my time, wonder why everything went wrong. Blame myself, second guess.
As I was unloading all of our groceries, I was kind of organizing things a little bit, like things that went into the pantry, items that went into our fridge, and then also I did a separate section of items that I actually wanted to take the time to prep out, like all of our produce. So that's kind of the things that I'm putting on the back counter, and then everything on the island will just go straight into the fridge. But anyway, as I was putting away the groceries, I was just reminded about when we were moving from South Dakota to Utah several years ago. And like I had mentioned, when we lived in South Dakota, I used to shop at Aldi every single week. It was just part of my routine. And when we moved to Utah, I realized they did not have an Aldi, I think in the entire state, but definitely nowhere in the Salt Lake Valley. However, I found out that they had a Trader Joe's, and I think at that point I had never actually been to a Trader Joe's, but I had just heard about it. And at one point I also had heard that Aldi and Trader Joe's were like sister companies or something like that. Like maybe it was two brothers and they split the company into two, and one created Trader Joe's and one created Aldi. And so I just thought, oh, they are the same store, but just kind of like a different name. And so that was my plan, was that I was going to, when we moved to Utah, start shopping at Trader Joe's for all of our groceries every single week. And I remember getting so many comments back then saying, nope, you absolutely will not be shopping there every single week. It's so much more expensive. They don't have all of the regular things that you want to get every week. It's just a different kind of store. And I just kind of brush it off. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm definitely going to shop at Trader Joe's. I love Aldi so much. And so the first time I went to Trader Joe's, it was so different. I do actually love Trader Joe's. I love shopping there, but I do not get all my groceries there. One, I would say they are more on the expensive side. They're definitely not like a crazy expensive store like Whole Foods or anything, but they are a lot more expensive than Aldi. And I also would say that Trader Joe's kind of has more interesting items, like really cool things. Honestly, if you have a Trader Joe's, take an afternoon and just go walk through. You will find so many cool things that you literally can't find at any other store because they're all kind of the same thing. Like they're their own name brand items. And not only do they have their own name brand items, but they also have their own specific items that no other stores have. So it's a really cool place, but it's definitely not going to be like where you get all of your groceries. So needless to say, everybody was right. I did not shop at Trader Joe's every single week. And that is actually where I found Winco back when we lived in Utah, which Winco is not the same as Aldi at all. It's just more of like a regular grocery store, but also kind of like a warehouse. Like it's really, really big, but you don't shop in bulk and their prices are really, really good. So also if you have a Winco, definitely check them out. All right, I had all the intentions of getting all of my produce all prepped and making a couple things, but I'm just running out of time. I have to go pick up Liam and Noah. We'll get dinner started in just a minute. I'll get all of this put back into the fridge, and then tomorrow we'll finish things up. Just to make things easy, I have this little yogurt box. I'm gonna put all the produce that I'm planning to prep out into here. That way tomorrow I can just pull it out in the morning, right after the kids go to school, get everything prepped out, make a couple of food prep items, and then we'll be good to go.
Had my heart, then you left just so up and down. Didn't know who I was without you around. But we can't go back to where we started.
So for dinner, I just made some everything chicken wings. This is from a cookbook that I got when I started eating keto. And honestly, I've loved it so much. Like it's very clean. Everything is just really nice ingredients in there. And it's also not overwhelming because you know how sometimes you get those cookbooks that have like 20 ingredients for each recipe and it's just so unrealistic. Like I'm not going to pull out everything. I'm not going to spend 50 minutes in the kitchen cooking dinner every night. Like it's just not realistic, but this cookbook really is a good one. And so for this recipe, it actually called for chicken wings. I thought about doing drumsticks, but Kyle just really does not like chicken on the bone. He's definitely not a picky guy, but he is kind of picky on that one. So I decided to go for chicken tenderloins. And honestly, this ended up being a hit and everybody loved it. So it totally works kind of either way that you want to do it. But all you're going to do is lay out your chicken onto a baking sheet. And then I'm just seasoning a little bit with salt and pepper. And then you're going to pop it into a 400-degree oven for about 40 minutes or so, or until it's fully cooked. And then once it's done cooking, you're going to pull it out, melt 3 tablespoons of butter, and then pour that over top. It's easiest if you do this in a bowl for sure, and then sprinkle on about 3 tablespoons of everything but the bagel seasoning. And then the original recipe didn't say to do this, but I just kind of wanted to pop it back in the oven and give it a few more minutes to kind of crisp up with that butter on it. And we just served this with a side salad and it was absolutely delicious.
This feeling we're all so much more than we seem. They can box us up in walls, but that don't change anything. There's a sun on the rise, painting all the sky blue, where the morning meets the night and every color breaks.
And then to finish off the night, I decided to pop those cookies into the oven, the ones that I had picked up from Aldi. I cannot tell you how good they are because I didn't get to try them, but everyone else was asking for seconds, so I'm sure they were a hit. Although I also would say I think my kids are not picky when it comes to cookies, so I'm sure they would say basically every cookie is delicious. Everyone's playing outside. Not our kids, but I think it's our neighbor kids. Anyway, okay, so I have all of that produce that I just set in that container from yesterday. I'm gonna go ahead and prep it all out. I actually wish we had more berries and stuff, but they're just not going on sale a ton right now. I think this was like $3 though, it wasn't awful. Some grapes I got on sale at our local grocery store just the other day, and then I have a bunch of like veggie produce, which is gonna be perfect for me to snack on. This time I'm wanting to incorporate a lot more veggies in and just make it so that you feel like you're actually eating healthier versus just eating like bacon and heavy cream and all that stuff. So I think this is gonna be perfect. A lot of the leafy greens have like negligible carbs, so it's not really a big worry on that. And this will be so nice because I am 20 times more likely to go grab some produce or something to snack on if it's already prepped out versus this. It's really not hard, but when you're in a snacky mood, I don't know what it is, having to chop something up just isn't the most ideal thing. So this way I can just get it done once and enjoy it throughout the rest of the week. So let's get started.
Smoke in the sky and fire in the air. Desire burns between them.
I have had the same cutting boards for so many years. I just usually will use the ones from IKEA, and they're just the flexible ones, but I actually had a gift card for Target and I went there and I picked up some new mixing bowls, which you'll actually see later on in this video. And then I also got that cutting board, and I don't remember exactly which cutting board this is. I'll link it down below, but I have been really, really loving it. I've used it several times now since filming this video, and I just feel like it's really nice quality. But anyway, all the silly little things we get excited about as homemakers. But once I got that kind of pulled out, I just went ahead and pulled out all the rest of my food prep items, like my strainer, my salad spinner, all that good stuff, just so I'm all ready and I can just kind of create a little utility line to get all this produce washed and rinsed and ready to go.
Going further on. Break up day till the sun goes down. You work for time between them. A far off land to your own hometown. You've been all around to see them. And when it's standing in front of you.
All right, I saw a trick. I think it must have been on a short or a reel or something, but it's a little trick to very quickly and easily de-stem your grapes, and I wanted to try it out with you guys today. So I just have these little linen cloths. I love using them in place of paper towels a lot of times. We do still use the paper towels sometimes, but these have definitely been helping us cut down on that. But all you do is literally just wash your grapes and then lay them down on the bottom towel, and then you lay another towel on top and you just roll your hands back and forth across them, and they just de-stem themselves. It's amazing. It worked super, super well. I know there can be so much good and bad in the internet, but sometimes with these life hacks, it really comes through for you. Now, if you've been here for a long time, you know I've been playing around with different ways to store my produce for years and years and years, and sometimes I'll like a different container better than another, but once again, I saw a post. They were talking about how it's so much more beneficial to store your produce in mason jars and how it actually helps it last a lot longer. And I was like, perfect. I have some wide mouth mason jars and I wanted to go ahead and give it a good try. And honestly, you guys, I have loved this. Like, not only do I feel like they are keeping really well in the fridge, it hasn't been a crazy long time or anything, but I do feel like they are keeping really well. But I also feel like it's just very space saving in the fridge. Everything's the same shape. Everything is very vertical. And also I kind of like that it breaks it up so that when I use part of my produce, like I use one mason jar of grapes, I don't still have that huge container that used to be full of grapes, but instead I just have one more mason jar and I can go ahead and wash the other one. So I will probably for a long time, if not forever, be storing a majority of my produce in mason jars from here on out because it just kind of makes sense.
After all the waiting, it feels like everything is going our way.
So here I'm just going ahead and chopping up all of my produce, like all of my veggies. Now, usually I'll add carrots in here, but since I'm doing keto, I decided not to add them into this container. However, if you remember earlier, you can see we had some baby carrots in a bag just sitting in the fridge. So if anyone else wants them, they can definitely grab them that way. But this veggie container has been such a popular item here on my channel, and we use it every single week. I love it so much because it's almost like a DIY veggie tray. You can separate out the veggies and you can set the whole thing out as a platter. Or if you're just snacking for a few minutes, you can even just grab out one of the trays inside and take it and enjoy it on your own. But we have just loved this one. Now lately I have been doing a lot of research on like the best ways to store produce. You guys know I've asked you several times, And one of the things I found was to store your herbs and your green onions in a mason jar like this, or some type of jar with a little bit of water on the bottom. And I'm trying that out and we'll kind of see how it goes. So far, I'm not so convinced just because I feel like they're not protected from any extra moisture in the fridge, but maybe I will be wrong about this one. So I'm testing it out, and probably in the comments, I'll be able to let you know how it worked.
The life we wanted, it feels like everything is going our way. I think we made it after all the waiting. It feels like everything is going our way. I'm lost in your energy. You got me feeling weightless, no gravity. I feel so high when you look at me. Caught up in your sweet, sweet fantasy. Oh my God, it's so electric. Unexpected.
All right, next up we are making some buffalo chicken salad, and I always pop up one of these recipe cards on the screen so you can go ahead and screenshot that if you'd like. And I also try to have all the recipes over on my website so you can find them there as well. But what you want to do is either cook up and shred up your own chicken, or go the easy route and get the pre-cooked, pre-shredded chicken from the store. Then you're going to chop up some celery and add that in along with some mayonnaise and then your favorite hot sauce. So I'm just using one from Aldi, but let me tell you, this is so good. You can eat it with crackers, or if you're keto, you can eat it on top of a salad. You can honestly just eat it as it is. I feel like this could be enjoyed so many different ways. You could even make a delicious wrap out of it. My mouth is watering just looking at this. You have to try this recipe out.
You know what you do to me. Got me feeling helpless, no remedy. It's like I'm living in the movie scene, and I can't deny this chemistry.
Next up, we are making some green sauce. So for this, you are going to need some cilantro, some minced garlic. I'm just using the kind in the jar. Also some mayonnaise and apple cider vinegar, 2 jalapenos, 1 lime. You'll need the zest and the juice. Last but not least, you'll need some avocado oil or olive oil and salt and pepper. And again, I have that recipe card there for you for your convenience to go ahead and screenshot and print. And then I am just using a little food processor. I love this one because it comes with an immersion blender. It's like a whole kit. I will have it linked down below, but it's amazing. So what you're gonna do first is go ahead and stem and seed your jalapenos, then add in your cilantro, and then don't do what I do and go ahead and zest your lime first before you cut it. But if you do, it's okay, you can make it work. And then go ahead and juice your lime directly into the food processor. Next, you're gonna add in some garlic. I definitely over added on the garlic, but in our house, you can just not go wrong with too much garlic. You're then gonna wanna add in your apple cider vinegar, a little bit of that olive oil, some mayonnaise, which is going to make this dressing feel really creamy, and then of course salt and pepper to finish it off. Then the only thing left to do is just blend this up until your desired consistency. And I love that you can still see all of those green bits from the cilantro in here. This green sauce is so good. You can add it on tacos, you can add it on different meats, you can just straight up put it on a salad. It is so, so good. And if you do want it a little spicier, you can always include those jalapeno seeds just to kind of give it a little kick.
Seeking your attention, but simple instead. 'Cause I hope you look my way, but no, you didn't even see me. Gazes a day, feeling every day like I'm going insane. 'Cause you and I are something I wish for every day.
We got so much done today, and it felt so, so good to get all of this prep done, especially with kind of beginning on a new diet again. And I honestly really hate saying the word diet, but more of a lifestyle, I guess. We'll kind of see how it goes. But so far, so good. Now, next week, I am going to be decluttering again. but we're going to be decluttering in my pantry, which I feel like people honestly forget about a lot, but it actually makes such a huge difference. So we are going to be completely decluttering and organizing my pantry in next week's video. But if you are wanting some more super delicious recipes, very easy, nothing really overwhelming, I'm going to link my entire homemaking playlist right here. I can say there are hundreds of delicious and easy recipes in this playlist, so definitely check that out next. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I am so thankful that you're here with me, just finding ways to enjoy life more and more day by day. You are amazing, you are so important, and I will see you right back here in my next one. Bye guys.